Hello, this is Spicy Dungeoneer, and we're continuing our series that compares the Warlock to the Crossbow Expert. This time we're delving into Tier 3, which is Masters of the Realm, and that covers levels 11 to 16. So, should be interesting. Let's get into it. So just to be clear, I'm not picking on Warlocks. Well, I am picking on Warlocks a little bit, and I really like Warlocks. I really love playing Warlocks, and I like fighters. So this is not coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of love, and I just want to see the game improved. I'd like to see marshals get a better deal, and especially since 1D&D is going to be coming out soon, maybe if there's enough noise about this, they might actually offer the marshals something. Anyway, for now, this is a 5E video, so I'm not sure how much more I will do this, but I think 5E is probably the most popular Dungeons and Dragons edition. What will happen after 1D&D comes out, that will be interesting. So at this level there are many options, and this video can't cover them all. There's a whole multiverse of stuff you could do with Warlocks and that sort of thing. So of course there's going to be other ideas out there, and that's great actually. That I like the options. It's fun to play different things. And that's especially with all of the homebrew and third-party content out there. There's a lot to get through. So let's talk about it. Write something in the comments. I read all of the comments that I get, and I try to respond to all of them. And we can talk about these things. And if you know some good third-party content, feel free to recommend it in the comments. So looking at the 11th level Crossbow Expert, they can attack 3 times instead of twice, and that means that they can get 4 attacks with their bonus action, shooting their crossbow, or with action surge it becomes 7 attacks. At this point I was also thinking about species, because we did some videos at the start, and I'll put a link in the description about some species, but unless those species have spell casting ability, they don't really get any form of improvement. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if all species gave you some sort of improvement to indicate how that species matures and develops over time? Perhaps, for example, a human might get an extra tool proficiency or something like that. I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there, but I think that's an interesting concept, and especially I think that the species that get spells and spell progressions at higher levels are more powerful in general than those that don't. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about that idea? And by the way, I'm not a real big fan of the word species. I would prefer if they change it just to lineage for everything. Anyway, check out those videos. I'll leave a link in the description and at the end of the video. So by this time the fighter is now becoming like a wood chipper, or maybe with the Crossbow Expert would be a wood chipper shooting a machine gun, And I find this to be a very boring, repetitive dynamic. And Monk also suffers from this same issue. I played a Monk a while ago, and it was just boring because you get lots of attacks, but they can't hit. So you just miss. This is with a really high level boss enemy fight. Or they're just doing little bits of damage. And I get the idea of death by 1,000 cuts and whatever, but I just think that it's tedious, and there could be better ways of doing it. I get it, everybody likes to roll, but I think that when it's getting like multiple like more than 10 rolls in a turn and stuff like that, it makes the time drag a bit more and slows everything down. Anyway, the other thing is that the fighter player has to rely on the DM being kind and giving magical equipment. So hopefully by this stage the DM has done that. Maybe there's some armor. I've seen warnings about giving crossbow experts magical crossbows and instead giving them only magical crossbow bolts. That's fair enough, I guess, but then the Warlock's shooting Eldritch Blast every round, multiple blasts, I should say, at twice the range. So is it really that bad? And especially when the Warlock can do interesting things with them. You might notice that when I've been doing these videos, that the Crossbow Expert is rarely shooting a crossbow. Sometimes you get this kind of modern sight in it. I think I've tried to use AI art here. I do use AI art, so I'll come clean about that. I hope that doesn't upset too many people. You can tell by the eyes, especially sometimes the eyes are a bit funny, sometimes the hands are a bit funny if you count fingers or legs and stuff like that. But I have tried putting in arbalester and crossbow and stuff like that, and sometimes you get this funny kind of strings everywhere and then these crossbow things going off in all directions. It's quite interesting, so if you've been wondering about that, that's why. Sometimes, as I mentioned, the eyes can be a bit funny. That was not too bad though, but did you notice, or were you looking at something else, I wonder? Anyway, moving on, the 11th level Warlock it's got the Mystic Arcanum, and that means that they can cast a spell once every long rest, and you get more spells. So basically, that's great for the Warlock, and it's only getting more powerful. I chose Circle of Death, basically because it's a 60-foot radius that around you that gets a con save. I thought it would be good to have a different kind of saving throw with the Constitution, and 8d6 necrotic damage. So now that's another kind of damage that the Warlock can do, whilst the fighter is mainly restricted to piercing damage from the Crossbow Expert, or from the crossbow, or their short sword, or whatever else they're using, unless the Crossbow Expert has branched out and got a mace or something like that that they can draw in an emergency. I'm not sure whether a crossbow would lend itself as much to like a flaming arrow scenario, which I'm not sure if there's any kind of rules out there except for homebrew rules for flaming arrows. So it's very hard for the fighter to MacGyver something, although why not? And I remember that other editions have had different kinds of arrowheads for more damage, or cutting ropes or stuff like that. So maybe it'd be interesting to see a bit of that come back into the game. They could use poison arrows as well, I guess. The 12th level Crossbow Expert gets an extra feat, and at this stage, you know, there's options. And I took mobility just because I thought the extra 10 feet would mean that they could run around a bit more and hide and be a bit more of a sniper. It also helps them in difficult terrain. There's, you know, at this level, there's a lot of different feats that they could take. Piercer would have been another option. That's from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and I'm trying to just keep this as a strictly player's handbook video, but definitely there would be lots of 3rd edition third-party things that you could use with the feats and stuff like that. 12th level Warlock gets Ghostly Gaze. Being able to see through walls, so we're taking vision to the next level. No longer is it just dark vision, which they already superseded a long time ago, but now they've got this arcane eye sort of thing, and that's great. So with the Warlock, I must admit I fell into a bit of a boring dynamic in that it became a bit of a constitution race between the fighter and the Warlock. I gave the Warlock the +2 constitution, just trying to catch up to the fighter, and we'll see the results of that later. This is a Warlock yawning, by the way, because that was such a boring way to get some increased abilities. The 13th level fighter I thought was a bit of a wasted opportunity. They get to use Indomitable twice, but there's not much going on. They get that proficiency bonus. Like, I get it, the proficiency bonus going up is actually a big thing, but +1, +2, +3, it's a bit boring. What do you think? I get it that +5, the proficiency bonus increases everything, so in a lot of ways it is a really big present to get when you go up a level, but it's no extra little special thing that you can run around and try to use. It's just an extra plus. The 13th level Warlock, their patron bestows upon them an Arcanum, and they can choose a spell. I like expending the spell the Warlock can use. Basically, I chose Plane Shift because I thought, well, why not? They can now go to anywhere in the known universe. So that's great, but the poor old fighters running around on a horse if they're lucky. Etherealness would also be a good one, or Finger of Death, which does 78 + 30 necrotic damage. There's lots of good options up here. The 14th level Crossbow Expert is basically involved in this Constitution arms race that I was mentioning before. So they took the +2 Constitution, and now their hit points are 130. The 14th level Warlock gets a no saving throw attack, so hurl through hell. Basically, as long as you successfully attack a creature, you send them into hell, and they take 10d10 psychic damage. Oh my goodness, that is powerful. No saving throw. All they have to do is succeed and hit. So that means that your dexterity or armor class ability to get out of the way is the thing. And remember that the Warlock has that 240 range Eldritch attack. 15th level Crossbow Expert gets some battle maneuvers. A lot of those maneuvers only work for melee weapons. I chose Rally because I thought it would be interesting to be able to work more in a team, and Evasive Footwork for some better armor class options. 15th level Warlock gets Eldritch Invocations and Evocations, I should say. I chose Shroud of the Shadow because it's invisibility at will, so you should be invisible all of the time, except for when you break invisibility or want to speak to somebody. I took Maddening Darkness because it messes with people with dark vision, and I took some more spells, Hold Monster, Elemental Bane, and Fire Shield for some extra defense and options in combat. 16th level Crossbow Expert, I took the con. It's pretty boring. 16th level Warlock, we took the con as well. Con is now 18. So please like and subscribe, and share this video if you can.